Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I'm not really going to be doing a whole bunch today other than surveying what happened in the freeze that we had. As you can see, I've got some damage out here. We had a freeze on Sunday, this past Sunday. It got down to 32, and then on Saturday, this coming Saturday, so a couple days from now, it's supposed to get down to 27, unless something's changed. I haven't looked. But so yeah, we've got some damage out here. Looks like this may have gotten some damage, even though I covered it. But I've kept a lot of things covered. These two look ready right here. I'm gonna pick a couple of these. Oh, there's another one. And I forgot to bring in the towels and sheets and everything, so everything's nice and wet because it's been raining the past couple of days. But for the most part, like, I covered the tomatoes and they still look like they've gotten some frost damage. Some of them have. Excuse me, not all of them. Whoops. Not all of them have. These were... If I can tell that they just fell off when I picked them, I'll pick them up. If I can't tell and I don't know how long they've been on the ground, I usually leave them, because that's when they'll start getting, gross and stuff like that. It looks like the blueberries did okay. They don't look frostbitten, but they're actually starting to bloom. But blueberries tend to, not mind cold weather. Some plants do better in the cold. When they have a cold, you can see the that'll be the end of my pumpkin vines. As you can see, Seminole pumpkin doesn't do well with the cold. And looking at some of these trees, the Jamaican cherry got fried pretty good. But here's the thing, you can see that I've wrapped the bottom. What I'm trying to do, because there's no way I can cover this entire tree. The only thing I could do is cut it all the way back to a stump and try to cover that. And there's no way I can do that. Same thing with, like, my bananas back here. They're pretty much, they look like they're goners. But I covered with a lot of these trees out here, I covered the stump like this. I covered the roots and the base of the tree. And a lot of times that will be good enough to protect it from, even if the leaves get burned and stuff like that, it will come back. If you can protect the roots, which is kind of the what I'm trying to do here with the moringa, which it's starting to sprout back, that will get killed off. But I'm protecting the base. I'm protecting the roots with, like I did it with my star fruit. And it doesn't look like it really got burned all that bad. But what I'll do, I actually covered, that's the little sumo citrus. I covered that. I covered the tangerine, which I ran over with a lawnmower, but it's coming back, see? But a lot of these trees are too big, I can't cover them. They're just too big. So, but I'm really hoping this mulberry, I don't know if this is from the frost or if this is from pests, but I'm really hoping it comes back. I covered the base of plants to protect the roots, because if the leaves and stuff die back, once you don't have the threat of frost, I covered the dragon fruit and I just realized I didn't uncover it. But once you don't have the threat of frost, you can come out and prune and do things like that. But if you keep the roots protected and the base of the trees protected, a lot of times the tree itself is not dead. It's just burned. You can prune some of that stuff off and it will come back. You may kind of have a year where it doesn't do a whole bunch, but it will come back. Like my Florida avocado got burned some here, you can see. See how the leaves, that's frostbite. But protect the roots of it and it will more than likely come back. Now what I'm amazed by is the resiliency of the loquats. I thought for sure all of this new growth would be toast, but it seems to have breezed through it with no problem. I did not cover the figs at all because the figs are dormant. I didn't cover the persimmon because it's either dormant or it's dead because it's lost all its leaves. But some of these trees go dormant like this. It drops all its leaves. So there's really nothing to, I mean, you can you can cover and protect the base, but it's really not, this fig has made it through several winters. It goes dormant and it drops everything, so it basically just goes to sleep. So yeah, but this is what I always recommend people, and I see a lot of people get really, really upset when they come out and they see like this damage and that damage, and I mean, like I said, unless you've got a blanket or a sheet or something big enough to cover, I have nothing. I have nothing big enough to cover this right here. This bunch of banana trees. I have no way of covering this whole thing. But underneath it, I've piled up so much stuff that it's not really mulch, but I've piled up so much, food scrap and stuff that it's covering the base. So if you can protect the roots, a lot of times it will come back. And another thing is, if you lose some plants, it's a bummer, but you can always start again. Like this mulberry tree, looks like it may have gotten burned some, but there's no way I could cover this thing. It's too big. So, I didn't worry about covering that one as much because it's been through several winters. It's big enough now that it'll make it. I think the main one I'm concerned about is my Jamaican cherry. It got toasted pretty good, but I'll keep the base covered, and then once the threat of frost is gone, I'll come out and I will prune a lot of this, and hopefully it will make a comeback. This looks like this Hass avocado did okay. I don't know if this is frost damage or if it's just new leaves or what, but this Hass avocado is kind of underneath this big oak tree here, so it looks like it got protected by the oak tree. But I didn't try to cover the pumpkin vines because it's pretty much done. That pumpkin right there I'm about to harvest, the vines are pretty much done. So if I don't get all these pumpkins, I have quite a few, it's okay. You have to allow room for loss. Like that's something that I also believe is, like, I see people talk about, they have pests that get to their plants and all that other stuff. And for one thing, if you kill off all your pests, and it seems counterintuitive, but if you kill off all the pests, you'll never attract any predators. Predator bugs, birds, stuff like that, lizards, frogs, toads, even bats. Bats can be a good predator to have around. If you kill off all of its food, it's going to go somewhere else to find food. And therefore, the next wave of pests that you have in your garden, because you're going to have another wave, it's going to happen. The next wave of pests that you have in your garden, you're going to have no predators around to take care of it. So anytime I'm like in some of these gardening groups that I'm a part of, anytime that I see them talking about, wanting to, that sweet potatoes toast, these sweet potatoes out here might be a goner. I did not cover the turnips because, as you can see, turnips are ones that don't mind cold. In fact, things like turnips, I'll get back to my point in a second, things like turnips, things like brassicas of any kind, leafy greens, stuff like that, they actually end up tasting a little bit better when they have some frost. Now we'll see what happens this coming weekend, because it's gonna be below freezing, and possibly it's gonna be below freezing on Saturday, possibly freezing again on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with some of these things out here. But looks like some of these have dropped quite a bit of tomatoes. Oh well. I'm gonna harvest that one too. But yeah, certain plants don't mind it when it gets frosty. You know, it actually helps them a little bit. You can see I put a little stake there and draped a sheet over the top of that mulberry cutting and this Barbados cherry, because they're so small that I want to keep them protected. But anyways, like I was saying, I see people talk about, oh, I've got these pests, and so I'm just going to come out and, you know, I can use even like organic sprays and stuff like that. It's just gonna wipe it out. You know, it's just gonna wipe out all the pests. And some people may think that's a good thing. You know, that's good. I want to get rid of them, stuff like that. But I always tell people the thing that I just mentioned. If you kill off all your pests, then the predators have nothing to eat, and they will leave. The predators will leave and go find food somewhere else. That's what they do. So, when the next wave of pests come around, and it will, especially if you live in Florida, we get a lot of pests here because of the weather. When the next wave of pests come around, you will have no predator, insects, birds, anything like that, to help you combat that. And that's the best way to combat pests, as if to have, you know, I love it when I walk out here and I notice, you know, wasps, or I notice ladybugs, or I notice, you know, hoverflies or something like that, because then I know, okay, they're going to take care of the problem. So I always try to encourage people. I know it's counterintuitive, it seems counterintuitive, but don't just try to mass kill off all the pests that come to your garden. First of all, it just happens. You know, you're never going to be able to just completely the only way I think you can completely get rid of pests in the garden is if you garden 100% in containers in a greenhouse and keep it sealed very well. And even then, I doubt you're going to be able to keep all the pests out. But, you know, pests in the garden are just a thing. It's just a part of gardening. And you have to learn, you know, think about how nature deals with pests. You know, nature doesn't just come out and spray a bunch of stuff and kill them all off. It invites in predator bugs, just any kind of predators, and it takes care of it. Just something to keep in mind. So, yam got burned, so I'm going to let that kind of die back more, then I'm going to dig it up. And we will have some yam, and I will keep chunks of it and replant it. I'm hoping that my cranberry hibiscus, I cut it, like this right here, I cut it. I'm hoping that the cranberry hibiscus will make a comeback, because I don't think I covered it. And this massive fire ant mound right here, I can tell you what I'm not going to be planting right here, and that's okra. But yeah, that's about it. You know what, I want to check on these pineapples out here, because they're kind of under a tree line, but we'll see how they did. Let's see, this one looks good. Yeah, they all look good. They've gotten bigger even amongst my neglect, because I've completely neglected them. But they look like they're growing, and they look healthy. So they did okay with the freeze. But like I said, they're kind of under these trees out here and this brush. Side note, this is supposed to be a yellow tabebuia tree, and it has never bloomed, never once. And it doesn't look like it's gonna bloom now. Maybe it'll bloom more into the spring, I don't know. But it's never once bloomed. Now this is blooming, this cherry laurel, and that's why my allergies are driving me nuts. Anyways, I'm rambling again, because my channel is boring and I ramble. But yeah, so got some frost damage, gonna have some more, but I'm also not gonna cut any of this off because my hope is that it will somewhat protect underneath when we're about to have some more frost. And the only thing I might do is cut some of these canes and save some of these Mexican sunflower canes, so that when it does, if they get completely killed back, I can replant. But yeah, so don't fret, don't fret about if you have some losses from a freeze or some losses from a pest, something like that. You can start again. It's not, you can always start again. And it's a bummer. Like, I'm kind of hoping that this banana here doesn't get completely destroyed. I'm hoping, I planted it at the south side of my house. I was hoping that, and I wrapped the base of it, hoping that it will keep it, but the leaves did get burned. But there again, I might be able to cover that. But my experiment was to see, okay, it's on the south side of the house. It can get some warmth off of that. Another thing you can do is wrap your plants that you want to keep protected in Christmas lights, but it has to be incandescent because it has to give off heat. If you get the LEDs, they don't give off enough heat. So if you have incandescent Christmas lights, you can wrap, like your bigger trees and stuff, you can wrap them in the incandescent lights and turn them on at night, and they will help keep it warm and keep the frost off of the plants. But I mean, sometimes if you have cold enough temperatures, there's really nothing you can do. You're gonna have losses. Even if you cover it, even if you put the Christmas lights on it, you're going to have losses. If it gets too cold, the plants can't handle it, and they're gonna die back. So, but there's no reason to throw the towel in. One, like I've said, trees are a lot more resilient than people want to give, people think. So, don't give up on them. Do some pruning, stuff like that. Protect the roots. I'm just checking my, I put some moss over my vanilla. But I wasn't overly concerned about it because they're under these trees back here, and the trees will take the frost instead of the vanilla. Plus this moss will break down and help feed the vanilla. But yeah, don't fret. Like, the trees are a lot more resilient. Once the threat of frost is over, do some serious pruning, and you'll be surprised at how much of it comes back. You may think a tree, like that tangerine that I have, I ran it over with my lawnmower, and it was just you saw it. It was just a little nub, basically, a little itty bitty stick sticking out of the ground. But I left it in the ground in hopes that it maybe would find a way back, and it is. It's sprouting new leaves. I mean, I planted my comfrey right here, and it's underneath all these trees, so see, it didn't get burned. But have you ever cut a tree down, chopped a tree completely down, but left the stump in the ground? I put the spearmint right here, so hoping it will take off and take over. I would not mind that at all. But if you've ever cut a tree down and didn't grind the stump, what happens? Unless the tree is diseased or like already dead, if you cut a live, healthy tree down and don't grind the stump, what happens? After a little while, it starts to sprout again. And that tree looks as dead as doornails because it is nothing but a stump. But what's it do? It sends up more shoots. Same concept. You know? Don't give up on if you have frost damage to your trees. If you have trees, don't give up on it. Don't chop them down. Don't get rid of them. Don't just go out and buy a bunch of new trees and think you have to start over. Just wait. Be patient. A lot of them are going to come back. They just, they need some good pruning, but they will come back. So anyways, that's enough of my rambling. And I'm just, I try to encourage people, because it can be discouraging when you walk out and you see all your trees turn brown because of, freezing. But I try to encourage people to don't give up. Plants are a lot more resilient than what you think. Yeah, you're going to lose some annual plants. You're going to. But, it'll warm up again. You can replant. And, yeah, your perennials, a lot of times, will make it back. So don't give up. Keep plugging on. And that is all. Oh, real quick, let me show you. Blueberry up here did well. These onions that I have planted here did fine. Onions don't mind when it gets a little bit colder. The sweet potato I have in here, it's probably toast. I might try to dig it up and see. But I might give it some time and see if it sprouts back, because plants are resilient. This blueberry did fine. The lettuce that I'm allowing to go to seed back here, which I think is so pretty, this purple lettuce with these bright yellow flowers. So pretty. But you can see the frost didn't hurt it a bit. Not a bit. And that's the thing that you'll find with a lot of, like I said, greens, brassicas, stuff like that. The frost won't hurt it. It might actually help it. I did bring these potted plants up onto my porch to keep them from getting any frost on them. This weekend, since it's going to be colder, I may have to put it on the porch and cover it with something, but we'll see. But I put them on the porch up against the wall. They did fine. The kit mango, Hamlin orange, that's a yellow dragon fruit, and then rosemary. So yeah, it all did fine. And I did want to mention real quick, I don't know if anything's going to become of it because I waited way too long and the seeds may not have been viable. But in here, a friend of mine gave me some, I don't know, you see it in the stores called Cilantro, Culantro, Cilantro, instead of cilantro, or I don't know if you pronounce it Cilantro, I don't know. Planted some seeds in here. I planted a yellow dragon fruit in here. So none of them have come up yet. I don't know if they're going to, but we'll see. Anyways, that's all for now. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you have frost damage, it will be okay. I promise. You're going to lose some plants. It's going to happen. You're going to lose some annuals. It's going to happen. But don't give up. Your plants are a lot more resilient than you think. Wait until the frost threat is gone. So don't run out there immediately. Wait until the frost threat is gone. Do some pruning. Clean the plants up. You'll be surprised what will come back. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Let me know that you were here. I'd love to talk to you. And that is all for now. I appreciate each and every person who watches, and I will see you soon.